everyone, this is Paul Gale from PaulGaleNetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is August 19th, 2021, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, I want to show you this, which is pretty cool. It kind of came out of nowhere. Nintendo just announced it this morning. By Next Stage and Visual Dart is coming a new game to Nintendo Switch this September 9th using Unreal Engine. And it looks pretty cool. I watched the trailer earlier, but I thought I would play it again for you now. And just let you know, today's video game news with PGN segment is made up of 3 trailers, and then we go into Famitsu sales charts. Because these 3 trailers are worth showing, but otherwise kind of a quiet news day. This game, though, does look pretty cool. Like the cinematic portions that you could tell are of the pre-rendered, cutscene-like, are very crisp, but the gameplay itself is actually also quite nice. Good-looking visuals, fast action, a lot of little effects going on. It gives me Monster Hunter vibes thrown in with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, kind of. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Nintendo has been on a roll lately. After E3, Ultra Age is the name of the game. After E3, we got our Indie Showcase, and then we got our Pokemon Presents, and then now just another drop of a game, Ultra Age, pretty cool. And of course we have the rumored Nintendo Direct next month, hopefully. Will it be a mini? Will it be a full Direct? Hard to say. Fingers crossed for a full 45-minute Nintendo Direct presentation. But yeah, good flow of news from Nintendo. And of course the Nintendo Switch OLED model. That's another thing right after E3. So yeah, really good flow of updates. Let me know what you thought of Ultra Age. Moving on, here's an old school game that's coming back to multiple platforms. This just happens to be the Nintendo Switch trailer, and that is Quake, one of the old school first-person shooters from the early 90s. A lot of people watching probably weren't born yet, depending. But Quake has been around for quite a while. There hasn't been a new entry in a number of years, but this is the original game in the series, and I believe all 3 expansions are included. It's on Nintendo Switch. Yeah, there we go. All 3 expansions. PlayStation's getting it. Xbox is getting it. I watched this trailer earlier, so I know motion control. I'm going to mention that soon. That's being added to the game. Also pretty cool. Online co-op, 4-player split-screen co-op, cross-gen support. So pretty cool stuff. It's also like $9, so very easy to get into. If you like first-person shooters, if you could get over the older visuals that are just crispened up, then you'll probably have a good time. I know that for some gamers, they could go back to something like this because it's nostalgia. They have a feeling for it from back in their youth. So playing it now is no problem. For some people, even if you grew up in an older era, if you skipped out on certain games, even though you were around during that time, it may be a little bit too jarring of an experience to go back and play something old because you didn't specifically play it, right, the first time around. And then there's another group of people that are much younger, have never experienced the game or anything as it was coming up from that era, and it's way too off-putting to go back. And it's not just video games that are like this, it's movies too. Especially movies that are very reliant on CGI. You go back and watch, Werewolf, The Mummy, Frankenstein. I grew up with some of those movies, all 3 of them actually, including Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, as a kid. And they were already old films by then, but I watched them in black and white. I watched some remastered, colorized versions of them. So me watching them back now, I still have some nostalgia for them, and they're still watchable experiences, even though today I'm watching Godzilla vs. Kong with high level fidelity visuals and just awesome graphics throughout, right? I could go back and watch the old ones. For some people, watching the old ones now for the first time, they can't do it because it's too old, too distracting. Works that way with games, even movies that aren't reliant heavily on graphics. You know, if they're just black and white and old, that could be tough for some folks because it moves a little bit slower. But let me know what you thought. Are you interested in Quake? You gonna pick it up? Have you ever played it before? Let me know. Okay. And our last trailer of today is the reveal trailer for Call of Duty Vanguard. I chose to lay out all three of these videos in the duration of the trailers themselves. So this is the longest one. We're saving it for last for those reasons only. And since I have seen it already as well, I could kind of talk during it.
The whole world is burning. Sometimes the only way to put out the flames is with more fire.
Trying not to talk too much during the voice actor portions. But this is a very good looking trailer, I gotta say. It's set in World War II. Takes place in different locations throughout the world during that time. It's pretty intense. Obviously, Sledgehammer Games is on top of it. Activision, you know, they know how to make big cinematic trailers, and Call of Duty is something that they are very familiar with now. They have it down to a science almost with how consistent their games are in terms of quality and production. Not every Call of Duty game is, you know, fantastic, genre-defining first-person shooter or anything like that, but, you know, they are always pretty meaty experiences. You look at the polish, you look at the facial features in the characters, the voice acting is there, animation, lighting, everything's there in the trailers. It's very realistic, gritty. I will want to see, you know, some really good quality gameplay presentations on it. Not too much to give away, you know, all of the game, but let me really see what it looks like in motion, walking around, jumping, shooting, getting into firefights, sneaking, piloting vehicles, etc. This part in particular is pretty cool, too. Yeah. Will this be integrated into the gameplay where you're coming down, you gotta figure out how not to die before you hit the ground? Shoot on the way there. Piggyback on top of another soldier.
Now and get early access to the open beta.
His parachute.
Digital pre-orders get instant access to the Night Raid, Mastercraft, and Black Ops, Cold War, and Warzone.
Pretty cool. Let me know, are you still going to get Call of Duty despite all of the unfortunate things that are going on in the world of Activision? Or does that not matter to you? To some people it matters because it's a level of principle. To other people, they realize, well, it's still a lot of men and women that worked very hard on these games for last year or years, and they want to see their product be happily being played by as many people as possible. Where do you sit on the fence, you know? Because obviously not everyone involved in the bad affects the folks that are good, nor does the vice versa hold true in the matter. But do you look at this just as a game? Do you look at it as a game associated with a company? Do you relate the stories that have come out that are unfortunate with the company and let that trickle down into the game? Are you able to separate things? Where do you stand? In general, though, even if you're not going to buy it, what did you think of the trailer? Because at the end of the day, we are watching 3 trailers in a row, so tell me what you thought. Okay, and moving along, finally, our Famitsu sales for the week. Once again, thank you, Chris1964, over at the ResetEra.com forums for putting this list together. These are the Famitsu sales charts for week 33 of August 9th through August 15th. And at number 1 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel for Nintendo Switch with 96,297 copies sold. At 2 is Momotaro Dentetsu for Nintendo Switch with 21,974 copies, with an increase of 101% over the previous week. At 3 is Minecraft on Nintendo Switch with 21,000 and up 43%. At 4 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 21,000, up 56%. At number 5 is Ring Fit Adventure with 21,000, up 71%. At number 6 is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for Nintendo Switch with 13,000 copies sold, only down 3% from the previous week. At 7 is Crayon Shin-Chan with 13,000, down 3%. And 8 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with 12,000 and an increase of 44% over the previous week. At number 9 is Game Builder Garage with 12,857, up 44%. And at number 10 is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury with 12,715 copies sold, up 54% from the previous week. It's another 10-0 Nintendo Switch week in Japan. Last week was the awesome, powerful 30-0 split, which was the first time done in 32 and a half years. Will that happen again? We'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out. But props on a good list. Obon took place August 14th, 15th, and 16th. So Obon is a Japanese holiday, and you can see that a lot of people purchased more games during that week. And you'll see on the hardware side in a moment that the same also held true there. Maybe we'll see a little bit of better software and hardware sales than not next week as well, thanks to Obon taking place into that Monday, which will transfer to at least one of the days of this upcoming week, week 34, but probably not too great of an impact as the first 2 days of the holiday already took place here. But congratulations to Yu-Gi-Oh! On hitting 1. 96,000 is quite a bit, and good for Konami. Hardware side of things, here's what I was talking about. This week, 89,732 Nintendo Switch units were sold, which is up 17,000 from last week. PS5 at 9,056, a fair drop from the 13,530 from last week. Xbox Series X, S combined to sell 1,256, up a couple hundred from last week. PS4 managed to sell another 1,170, down a few hundred. And 3DS sold 539 units, up a couple hundred. Overall, we see a pretty healthy chart on the Nintendo side of things, particularly the Switch, and on the Xbox side of things with consistent strong selling, strong meaning 1,000 or more for Xbox Series, and that's not bad, If you're Microsoft, you got to be pretty happy right now because Xbox Series is doing better comparatively than Xbox One did in its life, and that's really good to see. I hope that the Xbox Series X and S continue and eventually become the best-selling Xbox consoles in Japan ever. Another interesting thing, because I talk about it almost every week, is that last year, yet again, Nintendo Switch got beat by its 2020 counterpart. 148,000 is what the system sold last year, which is a good 51,000 more than what it sold this year, or even more actually. It's more like 59,000 more. Yeah, not 51. 59,000 more is what the system sold last year than this year. That gap is starting to narrow between year-to-date 2020 at 3.4 million and year-to-date 2021 at 3.5 million. That's a 51,000 unit difference. I imagine that the gap is going to get closer and closer until 2020 will probably edge out 2021 for a little bit, And then we'll have the OLED model in Metroid Dread, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Shin Megami Tensei 5. These games should help out Nintendo Switch, and I still think there's a good chance that 2021 will land on top. Whoever wins, though, it's not going to be by a landslide. You know, it's pretty healthy on the Nintendo side of things. PlayStation 5, Sony's got to get their act together, unless they just don't care that much about Japan anymore, which seems to be the case. Not that they flat out don't care, but clearly they care a lot more about North America and Europe. And, you know, hey, that's a business decision, so it's all good. Thank you for watching today. Hope you're all right with the 3 trailers. I know it's a little bit different because usually we have a breakup between, you know, news segments and trailers, or sometimes no trailers at all. This time it happened to be 1, 2, 3, and then video game sales. But hopefully that was all right for you. It was still fun to cover it. Thank you for watching. This is Paul Gale Network signing out. Hope you all have a good one, and see you next time. Take it easy. Bye.